DC. Okay, guys, 30 seconds whenever you want, and then you can begin.
What do you remember about the first time we met?
Oh, man. Your shoes. I'm just kidding. I remember that you were really nervous and you did what you do every single time you get into uncomfortable situations, and you do like little dance moves or something weird. So you like got off the train and I had pulled up and you like were like, hey, and I was like, wow. It was really funny. And then you leaned all the way to the right side of my car and your body language was like really nervous.
Oh yeah, I get nervous.
You were so nervous.
It's awkward.
And you were saying really weird stuff at the beginning. But yeah, that was like what I remember most, is you were like super nervous. I was, but I don't think I showed it as much as you did.
No, you have your cool girl persona and I'm here like, hey, what's up? I'm like a shaking chihuahua.
Yeah.
It's cool.
But it was really cute. You just did what you usually do, which is like every single time I see you, you do this like little awkward, like, I don't know, it's like your entry move, your to-go-to move. It's cute.
Thanks.
It's cute. Okay, what are your 3 favorite memories we share?
My favorite one was on your birthday, and at this point it was towards the end of the night and we were like obviously a little drunk, and we were outside kind of waiting for our Uber because we were like, let's get out of here. And you had said on your bucket list that you wanted to you've never slow danced with anybody before, so like I made you, like we looked so dumb, but we were like on the streets.
Yeah.
And you were singing Elvis, so amazing. Our first time that we met and hung out, and we laid in your bed and just read poetry to each other, your favorite book, and we spent like an hour doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the most recent one was when we were in the store, and I like have that weird thing where I sing everything I say, and then
I know.
you were about to go into a sentence, and I felt like I needed to end that sentence for you, but singing it, and you sang the exact same thing, and we were like, we stopped, we were like, are we okay? Like that was really gross. Like the store went silent. It was too much. It was too much.
That's cute.
Yeah. Describe the moment you knew you loved me.
Oh, man. I was thinking about this the other day because I think you have asked me this a few times. And we had talked about like what our love languages are, about like how we, how people give and interpret love. And when I was with all my girlfriends, I knew that acts of service was like one of mine, like people helping me with things. And I like came home one day, we woke up early and I fell back asleep and I was late for work. And there was like makeup on my floor and like my bed was like a mess. I just felt like, because when you visit, it's like an explosion in my room, and I'm like a little OCD, so it's like, wow, my room is like a mess. And when I came back, you like had cleaned everything, and like ever since like I've been with you, like I don't know, you like make my bed perfectly, and like the first time I came back to that, I was like, it was just unlike. I know it seems like really small and like dumb, but those little things really matter to me because a lot of my other relationships, you know, we've talked about it. I get really taken advantage of, and I'm always the one doing everything, even when it's not my fault. So I remember like the first weekend you were there, I like woke up and you had like cleaned my room and like made sure everything was like, I don't know, you knew like what I needed to like just like have like a good start to the day, and it meant a lot to me. And I think that was like when I was like, I'll keep her around for a little bit. She can keep making my bed.
Stop.
It was really cute. When do you feel closest to me?
When do I feel closest to you? I know our favorite time together, or personally for me anyways, is when we are laying in bed just like reading or just enjoying silence together, because I feel like I'm the type of person that needs, if I'm with somebody, I'm constantly having to talk or entertain them to feel like the conversation's moving and going. But with you, like silence is so comfortable. And whether that's like we were on FaceTime because of the distance, or when we are together and just like laying in bed, it's comfortable around you being in silence. So I feel like that's probably the closest I feel to you.
So when I'm never saying anything.
No, it's that comfortable sense of like knowing we don't have to say anything in order to just be, you know? Because I usually like, I'm always feeling pressured when I'm with somebody, and I've always felt that way, but I've never felt pressured to have that with you. Yeah. What about you?
I think, I don't know how you'll feel, but I think it's after we have a disagreement. I think that because you usually bottle things in so much, I feel like when we have like a disagreement or you're upset about something or I'm upset about something, you like finally tell me like how you're really feeling. So like I think probably after a fight, because that's when I feel like you like are really like vulnerable and honest with me about how you feel. Whereas opposed to like most of the other times, like when, you know, everything's good, you're like, just go with that, and you don't tell me along the way when things bother you. But when we get into disagreement, you kind of lay it all out. So I feel like I feel closer to you because of that. And like you're being like really vulnerable with me. So okay. What do I do that turns you on that I'm not aware of? This is terrifying to know.
Everything.
Because I do the weirdest shit.
You do, but I feel like that's what I like about you, because I mean, like, you and I know you have like, I'm cool, but like you do things like the weird dancing, like I don't know what you do with your feet, this line dancing thing, it's the cutest thing in the world. I just think it's adorable. Or in the morning, or like right before we go to sleep, you like turn into like a baby. Like your voice and your demeanor.
That is not hot.
It's not that it's hot and not that it's like, oh, this turns me on. It's just like, it's so cute. It's like a different side of you that nobody really gets to see, that I'm very fortunate that I am able to see. So I think just knowing that you're comfortable around me enough to act in different ways.
Like a baby?
Yeah, like a baby. No. It's very nice. It's very cute. Also, when I'm taking like photos like for work or anything for you and you're like posing in front of the camera, it's like you completely turn into a different person. It's like, it's hot.
Cool.
You know, you're welcome. No, I'm just
Thanks.
kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm like embarrassed.
No. How have I changed since we first met that surprises you?
I don't think anything's like surprised me in a bad way. I think before we first met, like I stalked you, and I was like, you like would pop off a lot. So I was like nervous, like I don't know, but I feel like with like my flaws that I have of like communicating, like you're pretty patient and understanding with me, which I don't think you would be with anybody else.
No.
You would like you wouldn't have it. You'd be super frustrated. So I think like that did. I thought you would be like putting me in my place and being super spicy all the time, but you're pretty, like you let me like feel what I need to feel, and then we just like get over it and like talk about it. So I think that probably surprised me.
Oh,
Okay. Who has more power in this relationship?
90% of the time, you do. Because, I mean, it's easy to say, it's like your way or no way, but that's not a bad thing. You know what you want, but that's something I've always admired you for, and I tell you that a lot. It's like you go into things knowing what you want and how you want it done. So I would say you, but not even in a bad way, but there are times where sometimes I feel like I'm in control, and those are some very good times, but most of the time it's you.
But do you like want it that way?
Yeah,
Like, do you feel
I feel comfortable that way. Like, it's fine. I like seeing you do your thing, and
because I like feel like it's like, I don't know.
not in a controlling sense. If that's what
I
you
feel
think,
like it's like it gets pretty equal. But
oh, there are times where it gets absolutely equal.
Yeah.
Like, it
But-
depends on the day. Like, there are times where it's like, it's very much equal, like that we're sharing this like sense of power, I guess. But even then, I don't even feel like you're like hovering over me with power, you know. But most of the time, I would say you, because I mean, I would do anything for you.
Okay.
And you know that. That's the thing. You know it.
Okay.
What are you hesitant to tell me?
Oh my God.
Jumping right in.
I think like I'm definitely nervous about like you eventually moving to Los Angeles and being with me. I think, you know, the last few trips we've had have been like hard because we have to condense so much of what we want to do in like such a short amount of time. And I think I'm nervous to see like when we have like full time, how we're going to be getting along with each other and like how it's going to be. Obviously I want you to be there, but I'm like nervous about it because I think like our relationship has been a little sped up because of the long distance. And like ideally I would love to wait a little bit longer before we like got a place together, but it's like sometimes like timing and life happen whether we like it or not, and it just kind of seems like the right time. Otherwise it's like another year of doing, you know, every few weeks, and that's really, I think, really hard for both of us with where we're at with our careers and stuff. But I'm like nervous about it.
What do you think is going to happen? Like, what is making you nervous about it besides the fact of us living together?
I just like don't want you to solely be coming to LA for me, just, you know, in case. Obviously I want this to work, but there's no guarantees with anything, and I would feel really guilty if like it didn't work out and like you know, New York has been your dream for a while and you've been here for quite some time, so I would feel, I don't know, I'd feel bad. I mean, I don't know, I already feel like heaviness about having you move as opposed to me, and we've talked about it a bunch, but I feel like pressure about it, you know, because like I'm nervous that
Don't feel pressure.
like,
it's like
moving across
you're
the
not. You
country.
act like you're like forcing me, like I'm in chains. No, I want to.
Yeah.
I want to, and I know, especially now, like our communication has gotten better than it was like at the beginning, because lo and behold, I'm really good at holding things in. But this is something that I want, and like I'm very open and honest about that. I think that we can do it. I'm very confident in us, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it my turn? No, it's your turn.
Is it mine?
Yeah.
When was the last time you felt most alone in our relationship, and how do you feel about it now?
Kind of towards the beginning. It was, I want to say one of our first disagreements, and it was very fair because it's something that's new for the both of us. Or you've dealt with it but had bad experience, and it is only because that like I'm bisexual, and there was that talk about like, well, what if, and like, what if this happens, or what if you do this, or whatever, and it stemmed from the experience you had with it, but I felt alone because it was...
What was it? Like what?
Like,
experience with what?
like with the people you've dated in the past that were also bisexual.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But I think the reason why I felt alone is because it was at a time where I was like, although I was completely comfortable with who I was and coming to terms with that, and like my family knew and my friends knew, and like I finally came out to it to like everybody, what held me back for so long was the stigma, like that exact stigma. And I was so afraid to share that with people because I was afraid that I was just going to be involved with the stigma, which was something that scared the hell out of me. So when it was being brought up, I felt alone because I had nobody to talk to, in the sense that like I have friends, but they can't understand from a place where I'm at, you know? But we've talked about it before, and now I feel more comfortable and confident in that. And, you know, I feel like we're at a point now where it's like you are so terrified because of what you had to deal with in the past with whoever did the nasty things that they did. But I feel like that's the one time that I really felt alone.
And how do you feel about it now?
Now, I feel like it's almost like we joke around about it a lot. Like at the beginning, I was like, anytime we joke about it, like even if it was a joke, I would say, that's not funny. Like, let's not talk about it. That makes me feel like crap because this is something I was hiding for so long. But now it's like, I could joke about it with you, and I feel like you know me enough to like know that I would never do something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
What is one experience you wish we never had?
Oh no. Trying to think. I mean, we've had like our little tiffs, but nothing that's really been bad where I would necessarily want to like take anything back. I think maybe just like maybe a couple of the disagreements that we've had over the same things that never fully got resolved, which is like talking about, you know, your, you know, sexuality and, you know, just things from our past that I think trigger both of us and make us feel insecure in the relationship. I think that those would be the only things that I would say, but I wouldn't say that there would be anything in particular that I can think of that I like wish didn't happen.
Yeah.
I think that anything that happened so far was necessary for us to like learn more about each other.
Exactly.
But I can't think of anything major.
Well, that's a good thing.
What about you? Can you?
No,
Oh.
not at all.
Okay. All right. What do you think is our biggest challenge right now, and how can we overcome it?
Distance, easily. I mean, distance along with communication. Distance for obvious reasons. It sucks that we are only able to see each other not as often as normal couples do, but that falls into communication. Like I am really, really bad, and like, you know, this like just opening up with people, and it stems from, you know, like past relationships, and I've always felt like anytime I did open up with people, I felt misunderstood or judged, and those are two things that I like hate the most.
Yeah.
And so I kind of brought that along and was afraid, and still kind of learning to communicate better. Whereas you're really good at it, and I am so thankful
I wouldn't say
for
I'm
that.
like good at it.
I mean, but for the most part you are. You're really, really good at it, and especially like you're very intuitive, where you know if you could tell and you could sense if something's up with me, and you'll be like, Orion, like what's up? Like let me know. And I'm always one to open it once you say something, you know, like you give me that open door, and I appreciate that so much because I've never been with anybody that's like given me the open door to say something, because it takes a second. Like I'm very hesitant to just be the first one to say something, but you always are you can sense my moods very well. And
Oh yeah,
you
make them pretty obvious.
you can give me that open door to say something. But so communication, which is of course something that I'm getting better at, but also distance, and that's something we would overcome by moving in together.
Yay.
Yay. No, I'm excited. That sounded very not excited, but I am.
It's just scary.
It is, absolutely. It's very terrifying, but like I said, I have confidence in us. We have our heads in the right place. So I think we'll do a good job at it.
There you get weird again. You're doing the nervous.
Doing the weird thing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Is it me? Oh no, it's
my
you.
turn, yeah. When are you the most worried for me?
Oh no.
This is an easy one, I know what you're gonna say.
I think I get the most worried for you with something that has to do with your career.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you put yourself out there a lot and are vulnerable to a lot of people that are watching you. And you're very different from me, where like I'm just like, I'll do what I want, and like people think what they want, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously I have that 1% that cares, I'm a human, but for the most part, I've just grown a pretty thick interior where I'm like, you can't take anything personal, the good or the bad, and you worry about what anybody thinks. And I don't want that to change who you are at the core.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it a few times where you'll like release like a really vulnerable video or share something about your life, and there's just like maybe 1 or 2 people that have something to say about it, and you let it really eat you away and you question those incredible things about yourself. So I just worry like sometimes that you're gonna let them like take you off the beaten path of who you are and you know what you stand for, and because you're like really sensitive. You're very like the most sensitive. It's not a bad thing. I just think that I worry that you're gonna like let people change these really awesome parts about you because of their own shit that has nothing to do with you, and their like opinions of like, you know, what they think. And I think that's ridiculous. You shouldn't care about what those people are thinking. So
I love you.
You're gonna cry.
No, I'm not. That was just really sweet. Thank you. It's your turn.
Okay. What is the pain in me that you'd like to heal? Oh no, I didn't know.
I was thinking of this when I was answering some other questions, and it goes back to when do I feel closest to you, and this is something I should have brought up, but it goes into this. When you let me read your writings, you're a very great writer, and you really know how to put whatever you're feeling on paper just perfectly. So when I'm able to read that, and you know, I feel like you've trusted me a lot with knowing about your past, whether it be like relationships, family, personal, whatever. I just wish that I could change the parts that hurt, you know?
Mm-hmm. What parts?
Like, you know, the things that you had to deal with, like in your past, like with family things, and how like strong and amazing you are now because of it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't necessarily take back, because you came out so strong, I'm very like, that's amazing, and that's something I always look up to you for.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, when we sit down and you trust me enough to like tell me these things, I feel it. And sometimes I wish a lot of it you didn't have to go through.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're such a great person, and you know, that's what makes you so great, is that you were able to come out of things like that and still be awesome and badass. But there are things that I wish that you didn't have to go through, because when you do talk about it, I could still see, although it happened like years ago, I can still see a little bit of it inside of you.
I'm working on it.
Take your time. I'm patient. This is my turn.
Your turn.
What is a sacrifice that you've made that I haven't acknowledged?
Man. Sacrifice you haven't acknowledged. I think, because I wouldn't say it's a sacrifice, because I don't feel like I've like really had to sacrifice much. I feel like we're both pretty much ourselves.
Right.
I think that I have, you know, my obvious fear, my reservation of that you've never really like been in a relationship with a woman before, like serious like this, and that scares the shit out of me.
Rightfully so. Yeah.
So I think I've kind of let that go a lot. I think about it sometimes, but I'm like, I don't feel like that fear with you. I mean, the situation is present.
Yeah.
But I feel like I brought that up once and I've never really, maybe I'm wrong. Have I brought that up a few times?
Yeah.
But
I feel like
it's like, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just something that I've let go because I know how much it bothers you when I bring it up. I know it makes you feel insecure too. But I don't know, that's the only thing I can think of, to be honest.
Yeah, no, we've talked about it a few times, but I think it always results into me like sitting you down and saying like, listen, you have every reason and right to feel this way. You are entitled to your own emotions, and like, I'm one for overthinking, so like I can't even blame you for it. But it's just a matter of like comparing. Like, I'm not somebody from the past, and I don't want to be somebody from the past.
Yeah.
I want to be here present with you. And it is my first serious relationship with a woman, but that doesn't...
And you think I compare you a lot?
Not like you're like this person. You're never like you're this person, or never that. It's just, it comes from where it's like, I'm afraid you're going to do this. And I'm like, you're afraid because somebody has once done that to you, but I've done that in return to you, you know? Like, I'm afraid of things because somebody else has done it to me. It's human nature for us to do that, you know? So it's nothing I could get upset over. But I always remind you that there's a reason I chose you, and there's a reason you chose me. And I love you, and I just don't think of, just because you're the first serious woman I've dated, like in an actual committed relationship, doesn't change anything, like, in the slightest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that? No, it's you.
Is it me?
Yeah.
What would make you leave me? I already know this.
To you? I mean, like, nothing that you do. I feel like any obvious thing, like if you cheated on me, but I don't think that you would ever do that.
Never.
I could think you were so loyal to like your friends, everybody around, you're a very loyal person, but anything presently that you do, I feel like you know, there are times where if we do get in a tiff, I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, breathe. All it takes is patience, and that's what I learned from you. And that's something you've taught me a lot. It's just like patience. So I don't think there's anything that you do specifically that would make me just leave. I'm all about working it through with you.
I know.
Don't stop till we're done.
Yeah.
When was the last time I disappointed you, and how do you feel about it now?
You know.
I know.
Probably when you made that comment about, you know, because I'm in a place right now where, you know, I'm wanting to do something more, you know, meaningful with my life, and not just like making a living. I want, you know, I'm grateful that I do really well with my job, but I want it to be something that's actually making a difference. And I kind of turned to you for some like, kind of open that up a little bit, and I felt like your response like triggered my own insecurity of what I was trying to explore and like resolve.
Yeah.
So it made me feel like kind of like I scurried back in my hole and just like wanted to deal with it on my own, because I like think that everybody goes through times in their life where they, you know, are really happy and they feel like it's like a new stage, but then things become a bit stagnant, and you know, whether you be like uninspired or you're feeling like maybe you can go in another direction. I think that's kind of where I was at, and I wanted to kind of turn to you like, hey, these are some ideas of like maybe sharing more of my writing, or like, you know, exploring different like areas where I could like add something.
Which I think you should do. You should absolutely share more of your writing. It's
I know,
beautiful.
But I just felt like I didn't want like necessarily like a devil's advocate. I wanted more like just like standing by me in like a brainstorming session, and I kind of felt like it just felt disregarded a bit. It hurt my feelings.
It did. I mean, I'm not gonna justify that or like make an excuse because the way I said it sounded not nice, but
Yeah.
you know, it didn't come from a place of like, this is how I feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah. Sorry. We've talked about it, I'm sorry. Didn't mean it.
What's something you see in me that I don't see for myself? I don't know.
No. I tell you everything that I feel about you. Like, if there's one slight thought in my head, I'm like, I tell you, so this is something that you already know, but like, how, as much as you don't think you are such a caring and loving person, and that sounds like so cliche to just say that, but like, you will bend over backwards for anybody, whether it be a friend or even an acquaintance or a work partner. It doesn't matter how they treated you in the past. An animal, like, you are so loving towards cauliflower and my pets. You will bend over backwards for anybody, and I admire that because you don't care what they've done to you in your past. You are human, and you look at them as a human and not as something like something that they've done in the past to you. So I would say that. I would also say that you are just an inspiring person all around. Like, I tell you this all the time, you are somebody that I aspire to be when I grow up. Like, you know what you want, and I have a hard time. Like, I know what I want, but I don't know how to tell people what I want. But you do. You know how to go in there and like kill it.
But you sometimes think it's like a little...
And it can be intimidating.
Aggressive.
It can be aggressive and intimidating, but like, some people struggle with that. And at the end of the day, you get what you want, don't you? And not in a bad way, but like, you've worked so hard for where you're at right now. And I admire to be that way as well. So.
That's sweet.
Yeah. You're also really talented, just so fucking talented, Jesus. What was our proudest moment?
Proudest moment. I think probably not listening to anybody else's advice and like, and probably just, letting people know that we were together, regardless of what anybody's opinions or like preconceived notions were, how they thought that we were supposed to let people know that we were together. I told you from the beginning that was bullshit, that we don't have to go by anybody else's suggestions, that we can just, because our nature is just like,
us.
Boom.
Exists between us, exactly.
So
it's just you and me.
I was happy that we didn't listen to anybody else, because I think that the way we did it was really authentic, and I don't know about you. I know you were nervous about how
I was so nervous, but
like told
it
people
was
that
a
we were
bit
together,
nervous.
but I felt like, I don't know. I felt like it was us. Like, I felt like that was the way that we would have done it, and it was like small and like probably was like not very, it wasn't a grand gesture that we did, but I felt like it was just simple, and it meant a lot to me that you didn't like listen to what everybody else thought. So probably that.
I agree.
Okay. Why do you love me?
I love you because you challenge me. You help me think outside of my little tiny box. And I learn a lot from you, And it's not just about what you do for me. I love you because of the way you are. And, I'll repeat it again, how loving you are towards other people, how charismatic you are, how talented you are, how understanding. You're very understanding. You're very open. I love you for things, like I said, what you can provide for me, but mostly you. and it's always been that way. Like ever since the moment I've talked to you, I've just like, I felt, that connection, and that's so cliche to say, but like, I know you know what I'm talking about, and just you're somebody that I just.
Even when I annoy you?
Even when you annoy me, your presence is very much needed. Like when you're not around me, I'm like, where'd she go? I need her. So it's just your presence and the way you carry yourself and your aura and everything about you is just perfect in my eyes.
You sure about that?
I'm very sure about that.
Okay.
Very sure. Where do you see us in 10 years?
Oh man, loaded question.
That one's a big one.
I mean, in 10 years, would love to be at a place where we both feel settled and where we are with our careers, and like, as we get older, that's when you really kind of like shift out, the friends that aren't gonna be your like life partners. And I want to get to that place where like, I'm trying to buy a house right now, and so I would love to like have a family and be in a place where like you can have your dream of like traveling and writing, and I can support that and be happy too. Because I know that if you're not writing, you're like Looney Tunes. So I feel like I would want, that's where I would see us as both individually happy so that we could be bringing a lot to the table in our relationship. And I think that that's still something that we're both working on individually while trying to do this. I think we can. I don't think it's like been too challenging, but I would like for us to both be like super, like killing it. I mean, we are, but
yeah,
I mean like where we're like enjoying the fruits of our labor essentially, and like able to like have a family and like live in a house and travel the world and like learn, have our kids learning other languages.
I would
and
love that, yeah.
Be nerds, and that's ideally where I would see us, and hopefully not having any of the like beginning kinks of a relationship where which I don't think that would happen.
No.
Getting to know each other, that we get to a point where we like trust each other enough where like a lot of these like weird things that come up are just like, oh, come on,
Like it's something we laugh about.
Yeah,
I agree.
So
I like that.
What about you?
I think so too. We talk about it way more than we should for,
That's because of you.
I know, it's just because I just love you so much.
You're romantic. I'm romantic, but you're like...
And like, it's weird to talk about because like we haven't been together that long. So when I do talk about it around like friends, they're like, are you good? Like, but it's like, no, I am. I'm fine. I've never felt this way towards another human being before. I really, just enjoy your presence enough. And I would love to see the exact same thing. We talk about it all the time, and it's so weird because it's not like we talk about it like, oh, we're gonna do that next year. Like, no.
But I feel like a lot of people, I don't know, people that I've been with is, they don't.
They just say it.
They don't see that with me.
Well, I do.
I know, but I'm just saying,
with you for that reason.
It's weird to talk about it with someone because it's like always like.
Oh no, same. Like
people dating me for the wrong reasons.
It's like taboo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To like talk about those things, but I feel so much more comfortable, and like, my thing is like my biggest fear is just like somebody picking up and leaving.
Yeah.
So to know that you can sit here in front of my face and be honest and say, I envision this with you, and it's every time. It's never been like, maybe. It's always been like, this is
like
what I want. Maybe. It makes me feel very confident in us. And like, it makes me feel very confident in you.
Yeah. And
knowing that we want the same things. Exactly. Did we just say that at the same time? Yeah. That was weird. I'm sorry. But yeah, so I agree.
Okay. Oh, there it was.
I know, I'm sorry. I love you.
I love you too.
Stop. I can't do this with you. You're like...
You're just going to keep laughing.
I know. You're making a... hot in here.
I know.
I'm a little toasty.
Okay.
We did it. Give me a high five. Yes. No. Cool. It's all me. Love you.
Okay, cool.
Cheers to that. You could tell I'm nervous right now because
Yeah, I
there's
know.
nothing
I
being
like watching
said.
this.
I don't know. Everybody's like, it's cool.
I just like watching this unfold.
I'm just gonna not say anything. I'm just stare at you.
That's when it gets worse.
I know. God, that's when it all just goes down the rabbit hole.
You do the weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing?
Hanging out. I didn't cry. I almost did. I held it back though. Stop. Okay, we're good. We're
Cool.
good. Yeah.
Is there anything you guys want to ask each other?
Yeah. I feel like we just know so much about each other.
I know.
It's like, do you have anything you'd like to ask me?
Not really. I feel like I know everything. I think like mainly the only thing I would ask you is like, with all the other relationships that you've been in, like, do you feel like you're like really resolved with those, or do you feel like with like some of them like, coming back, like, do you feel unresolved with any of those
I feel
relationships, or do you feel like there's like still stuff that like you need to talk to them about or like sort out?
absolutely not. We've talked about this a lot. Like, although they didn't end on terms that I'd like to, where I didn't get the closure that I wanted, which is easily something to eat at you. I took a lot of time for myself, which is something that I don't do. Like, I'm very I'm a giver, and taking a lot of time and just giving it all to me was important, and I was able to let go of any of that, and those people are only ever brought up if it's between you and I. I wrote about it. It's on
Sounds
paper.
like you've probably you've written a lot.
I've written a lot about it, but that's the beauty of writing. You can write about it. It lives there forever, but it's not really in your head anymore.
Okay.
So I can confidently say that I'm all yours, and I've always been this entire time.
Okay. That's all I want to ask. Don't act like you don't have other questions to ask. You always have questions. You always have so much to ask, so much to say. And I know that there's probably stuff that you've been too scared to ask me. Because I always have to pull everything out of you. Now's your chance. Because I know you have insecurities and stuff, so just ask it.
Let's let it all unfold.
Yeah, just ask it.
I think the only thing I've always felt like when we were together, I was never your type. And I felt that personally.
My type?
Your type, if that makes sense. I always feel like
I'm so confused as to what you think my type is.
I'm like, there's no way. It's probably just my insecurities. I'm like, there's no way somebody this cool is into somebody that does this all the time. You know what I mean? But then the situation when I'm thinking of. I don't even have to say it.
My last relationship?
No. What made me almost think about that. What is it that I don't want to say? Yeah, actually, I do want to say that. No, because it sounds dumb the way I'm trying to word it. Because I don't really know what I'm trying to ask here. Because that was
Why
something.
Are you my type?
No, I'm not. I don't want
You're doing the tangent thing.
No. I don't want you to be oh, you're so I don't want that. I just want to know what was so different between, like, what made this happen? Like, what were you drawn to at the point? Like, don't even, like, I'm not talking about, like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. Never mind.
I feel like I know what you're trying to say, and I think, like, as you know, like, my history in relationships has been very painful, and I've been cheated on a lot and hurt a lot, and people have been with me for the wrong reasons. And yeah, I would say that and they weren't all like that. I had some, as you know, like some really incredible relationships as well, with people that I'm like very dear to, or very close to, and but for the most part, a lot of them were bad. And I wouldn't say they're bad. I learned a lot from them, but they were very painful. And after my last relationship, I knew that I couldn't keep going for the same type of person, because it was always the same result. It was unrequited, and it was hurtful. And it was because I was dating people that, entirely wrong reasons. That we had nothing in common, first off. And ultimately, I got into relationships with people that I knew probably weren't going to work out in the first place, because that's all I knew from my childhood. And I got to a point with my last relationship after taking, how long? 3 years to like travel and work on myself. And when I saw you, you had everything that I wanted, and I felt like I was always dating little girls, and you're like a woman. This is the truth. And you handle me like a woman, and you don't interact with me like a little girl. And that to me is why I find you my type.
Cool.
Is that not what you wanted to hear?
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to say kind of, because that sounds like I'm like indifferent about it. But
well, I know that you also feel like physically you feel like I've dated like a certain type.
Yeah.
And I disagree with that. I think that I don't know. I think any of my friends have noticed, like, I don't know. I don't think that I do have a type. I think that everybody I've been with would always be like, didn't expect that. And I think that you're not my type in the way of like how successful, like I get intimidated by like the fact that you have a book coming out, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Like what, you know? That's a huge,
equally as amazing things.
That's a huge deal, and I'm so proud of you. But you know, I'm not used to someone. I'm always used to being like the one that takes care of someone, and I don't have to do that with you. I don't have to take care of you and like lead you in the right direction and handhold you into like what life decision does Orion make next. I just trust you to always be doing what you need to be doing for yourself and feeling your own like weight in this relationship. And I've never had that with anybody that I've been with. So you keep saying like comparing like this physical thing, and I think that that is maybe an insecurity, and I don't, and it breaks my heart because I find you so beautiful. I mean, you're so beautiful, and that was like, I mean, how we met was like sheer, like based on sheer photos, like so. I was like, damn,
Stop.
You're hot. So, I mean, I stalked you for a while until you finally gave in, right? I mean, how many times did I have to be like, hello, you're hot, I want to like hang out with you, before you were like, fine. And you finally gave me the time of day. But it took me time. And that was based off of, I mean, I knew nothing about you, as any relationship usually starts unless like you're like friends and like fall in love with each other, which is incredible. But we didn't know anything about each other. So when I first saw your photos, I was like, she's hot.
I know, like I don't need to stop. No.
You're hot.
No.
And I remember it was the little singing video that you did. I was like, this girl is a cutie. And I wanted to get to know you. And it wasn't just based off of how you look either. There was something different, and that's what I was drawn to. And I was scared because it was something new for me to go after someone for like also like their passions and what they're interested in. And I know you like you still like don't believe me, but I don't know what has triggered you, like besides like that one obvious like disagreement we had, like what else has triggered you to feel like, because I feel like this has started since the beginning, like that you feel like you don't know why I'm with you, and I'm like,
no,
that sucks, because I feel like I'm always like, you are so beautiful to me, and like I find you breathtaking, and
I just think it's
I don't know,
mainly because of, you know, like the age difference and like knowing that I am a bit younger. And I think that scared me a little bit, because I feel like not with you, but just people in general can easily just not take me seriously just because they would rather go by my age rather than like the things I say and the things I do. No, you do take me seriously. I'm saying people in general. So I think for a while I was always like in fear of like, what if there's somebody cooler and older and, you know, like you're more driven to them.
Am I like a grandma?
No, and you're not grandma. I don't mean it like that. No. I'm just saying like, you know what that's just what, it's literally based off my own thing going on.
Do you think I take you seriously?
You do take me seriously.
Okay.
But
well, what am
it's
I
my
not
brain.
doing?
It's my brain. I can't. I'm just kidding. I overthink everything. I do.
Well, is there anything I can do to like subside that?
Just be here for me, and you are here for me for all the time. I say for the most part because I'm thinking of like distance.
Because I can catch you sometimes in your head, and I know because you don't talk about things unless I like shake you, and I'm like, talk to me.
Yeah.
Or I like poke at you until you'll come out with it.
But I'm getting better at
it. You don't like to like bring things up because you're worried that like of how I'll feel, but I want you to like be present in this relationship, and like if you have things that bother you or upset you, like I want you to bring them up right away so we can squash them, because I don't want you to like end up getting to a point where you resent me so much that it's like we can't unravel all of that.
No, I don't think we'll ever get to that point. I think although I'm very hard at communicating as easily as I should, you still get it out of me, whereas like nobody's ever been able to get it out of me. You know more about me in the small time that we've been together than the people I've been with and I've dated for a while, because I'm very comfortable and I can trust you, and I don't feel like you're judging me. But there's always that sense of like, what if? And I always keep that in the back of my head. I'm always like, there's always like the what if. That's what scares me, the fear of like the unknown and being misunderstood, because I never want to come off and say something and then you take it differently, or you see me differently or view me differently.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of my fear with everybody. But with you, you're teaching me and you're guiding me to be more open with that. And I am okay with that. I'm more than okay with that because I'm comfortable with you and I know I can trust you.
Okay.
But that's all.
Okay.
Is that all with you? Cool.
I know, me too.
You're in a leather jacket. It's summer. What are we doing?
I know.
Keeping up the cool persona.
There you go.
Okay.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for being here. It's Nick from The Skin Deep, and I just wanted to let you know that these conversations are all facilitated by our questions, and we've taken those questions and put them into the end card game. So if you want to have more meaningful conversations, if you want to start deepening the connections in your life, go to shop.theskindeep.com to check out our card game and all the other stuff that we're doing. So thanks so much.